Recording. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this masterclass with Annalena van Hodenberg. Annalena is a trained television journalist, and she focuses on basically stop digital violence. During her work, she was primarily concerned with the orchestrated hate on the web and the strategies of the right-wing parties. Annalena is the brain behind Stop Hate Speech campaign, and 3 years ago in December, she founded the non-profit organization Hate Aid. In the meantime, she has achieved really great success stories against Facebook, against Twitter. She is also involved in the Digital Service Act of the European Union, meaning stricter regulations of digital services. For example, porn platforms will be required to take serious actions against the abuse of nude images on their channels. Basically, it will give more power to the users. And last but not least, Annalena is also partnering with a group called People versus Big Tech to basically gain insight into the mechanism of platforms. And having said that, I will really welcome Annalena today. Annalena will give us a speech about hate, about an organization and digital violence. And Annalena, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Petra, for the very kind words, and thank you very much for having me. I'm really glad when I look into all these faces that I see predominantly women here. I think almost all of you are women, because I'm going to concentrate, because I mean, we're talking about women role models. So I'm going to concentrate also today my masterclass on the situation and digital violence that is especially focused on women online. And so what you can expect from this masterclass is, let me see how this works. I will talk a little bit about what is Hate Aid, my organization, and what is digital violence, and especially focus on digital violence on women. Where does it come from? How does it affect people? How does it affect behavior also on the internet? And to not depress you too much, I will then give you a class about what we can do about it and how we can prepare ourselves in case we could become victims of digital violence. So I will show you a couple of coping mechanisms, and then we have a time for the Q&A sessions, and you can, you're happy to just, ask me all about, everything that is interesting to you. And I just want to correct one thing. I co-founded Hate Aid, so it was not only me, but we were 4 people who founded Hate Aid, but I was the CEO, the founding CEO. Okay, that I always have to say, because if not, the others feel left out. So let's talk about what is Hate Aid and digital violence. So here you can see part of my team. It's only, I think, about 10 people. Or 9 people. Actually, we are 40 people working at Hate Aid. We are a typical social startup. We've grown in 3 years to up to 40 people, because digital violence absolutely is a threat, and there are growing needs for victims, but also for legislation. And you only see 9 people here because the majority of the people who work for me don't show their faces in public, because also if you help victims of digital violence, you are the first target to be threatened. So a lot of my colleagues work with pseudonyms, and we make sure that they stay anonymous, so they can help those, because if they feel safe themselves, they can help those who are affected. We have we have 3 parts at Hate Aid. We have like a typical consultation center. We do process financing, litigation, also strategic litigation, and we try to, because we have seen that helping the individual victims is a good thing and it's really important, but it would be better if we could change the system so we don't have as many victims. So we engaged in politics and tried to change legislation and consciousness about the whole subject. Okay, now I have to see if this, sorry, like a technical problem. Okay, this is not animated. I don't know why. Petra. So
I think for that we should have chosen another version, but maybe you can tell if it is not animated. Sorry for that.
This is a little bit a pity because it's so nice if we have animated. I brought you a little bit of, so what is like a day in the life of the internet? What can happen to people on the internet, and especially also to women who are present on the internet? If you look at your left, you see like the classic insult. It's sexualized, as it is in 90% of the cases when women are insulted on social media platforms. Then under it, you see a very growing.
Just a second, Annalena, I just out of curiosity, is this the German foreign minister on the right, left?
Yes, on the left.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you can see the German foreign minister 5 days after she announced her candidature to become chancellor. She's from the Greens, and she's a young woman. For everyone who don't know her, her name is Annalena Baerbock, and she's a fairly young woman in her 30s who announced to run for chancellor in Germany. And 5 days after she announced on Telegram and Facebook and Twitter on the thousands, these nudes that were supposed to be her, or people announced to be her, were circulated. And it was rumored, it was like a smear campaign against her, and it was rumored that this was her when she was 20, when she still needed the money and sold her nudes on the internet. So this is something you can see if an outspoken young woman is active on the internet and is aspiring also political, a high political power. This is what can happen to her. Then you can see, some you can't really see, but let's move to the right. So what you can probably, if I move my head a little bit, you can it's disguised as the so-called dick pic. So there's a lot of women that get penis pictures, especially when they are on dating platforms, but not only that, they just get randomly, it is a frequent experience of young women to get penis pictures, but also I now have cases in my consultation where we see that with journalists or politicians who have been very outspoken, that they then get like pictures of male genitals, ejaculating and things like that. So so this form of like sexual digital violence is used more and more frequently. Then on the right, you can see this little house, and it looks so nice. It could be your house, but when your address is shared on the internet by people and you are threatened that somebody could stop by, or I have clients where they just stop by, you then see your address, and then afterwards you see a picture of your doorbell that was taken. It becomes really threatening, not only for you, but also for your family. And this is something that is really frequently done because it has been proven that people, when they are threatened in their homes, the one place where they are really secure, and when also their families are threatened, that this is like a very effective means to silence them or to make them, take back certain things. So on your right, you can see this this hand with a smartphone. We have a lot of cases where there are fake accounts with names are installed, and then messages are sent from this fake account in the name of the person that people try to harm, and where they really try to kind of create disturbance in also publicly in the circles, let it be politicians, journalists. We have that in companies where then to all the colleagues in their names, emails are written that are not from that woman or that man. So this is also a very disturbing thing. Then behind the first picture, you would see anti-Semitism that we see also frequently. So everything that you can, every time you have like another trait, like maybe you're Jewish, or maybe you're Black, or maybe you are LGBTIQ, the hate is even stronger. And then in the front also, you see now the, she now is elected, this is Ricarda Lang, who's elected to be the chief of the Green Party. And you can see what, you know, this meme that was done to her, it's body shaming, that a lot of women who are outspoken but are not the average model of heterosexual women, slim, this is what happened. This is the way they get shamed. Let me see. I'm sorry about the animation. I hope this is good. I brought you some statistics just to fill you in on how big the problem is, because at times when this has not happened to you yet, or you haven't, you know, really paid attention to hate storms, one always thinks, oh, this happens only to other people. But it doesn't. 78% of internet users say that they have seen and been confronted to hate on the internet. We know that young adults are especially affected. 17% have already been victims of hate speech themselves. So if you go on the internet, violence will be something that you will surely face. It is something that is part of your reality. Every time you go online or you go on social media, every time you read an article and look into the commentary section, every time maybe you post something, you also think, okay, so how are the reactions going to be? This is something we anticipate. And actually, it can really happen to everyone. We have consulted around about 1,700 people now in 3 years. And out of our experience, yes, it can happen to everyone, really to everyone, but some are more affected than others. And I've already said that it has something to do with, I'm not your average woman. So I maybe have not the body that is the average body. I may not have the color that is the average color. I may not have the sexual preference, but also not to be your average woman, for example, means an outspoken woman, a woman that is aspiring to go into a higher position, a woman that is going to be #1 in politics, or that is going to be #1 in journalism. This is also not your average woman. And we can see that also when we compare, for example, young activists, where we have, for example, with Fridays for Future, we have young male activists and we have young female activists, and we can see that the majority of hate, and also very strong hate, sexualized hate, violent hate, is always directed against the women. And the hate that is directed against the women is far more objectifying, and the hate that is directed against the men still has more something to do with the subject that is criticized. For example, with Fridays for Future would be climate, but we see with the female activists, for example, rape threats, more just commentaries or insults about how they look like. So it's more an objectified thing. We have done a European-wide survey last year, at the end of last year, and we have seen that in Europe, this is not only a problem in Germany or in Austria or in Switzerland, but this is a European-wide problem. 27% of women in Europe between 18 and 35 have been victims. And the growing problem also is that 30% of women are afraid that their nudes could be published online. And this is really something, if 30% are afraid of this, this is because most of them know somebody who this happens to. And we have frequent cases where women, nude pictures of women are uploaded on porn platforms like Xhamster. The porn platforms mirror each other, which means when you're on one porn platform, you're on all of them. People download these images, upload these images again. So once you are on this porn platform, there is no control. So please be careful with your intimate images of your past relationships. I have a lot of women in my consultancy who then are approached by a colleague who have seen them on the porn platforms they don't even know, with their names maybe, or hint on what they're doing in their job. So this is something that happens very frequent. And it also, if you use Adobe Pro you can just take the head of a woman and put it on a naked body, and it seems almost like, or you can use pictures like for the German foreign minister. So this is something that is used frequently to shame women, and also to try to destroy their careers, because this is then in the company shared, or this shared online, sent to the parents. This is something that is really evasive, and that is something where I warn you to be very careful about. And as I already said, the hate is going to grow if you are, for example, LGBTQ, if you are Black, if you are Jewish, if you talk about feminist topics, if you demand equality between the genders, if you're anti-racist, climate activist, then the hate is likely to increase. The reality is that strong, outspoken, and successful women are more likely to experience online hate, which means that you should not stop being outspoken, strong, and successful, but which means there is a reality where we have, in an analog world, women have in the last, let's say, 100 years fought for a lot of new rights, have been so much more visible, have started to get into positions like chancellor, like by foreign minister, have been started to get into top positions also in journalism, in the economy. But online, there is a movement where this is starting to be questioned. And do not forget that the digital world, since also the pandemic and Corona, has been one of our most important public spaces. So if you want to be successful in this society, you need to be present there. And if you want to be a successful woman, you need to be present there. But there, you confront a completely different scene than you would when you would go in, for example, into a talk show or to a newspaper or anything. What do we know about the haters? Something that is kind of makes it not as bad is that it's not that the whole society all of a sudden became very hateful. I always think about this image that everybody goes home and then we put our black socks on, and then we start putting all this hate into the computer. No, what we know is that we have a few very well organized groups of haters that select well their targets and then act together and act consciously, because they have understood how the algorithms of the platforms work, that if you in a very precise moment of time attack one person, then the effect is going to be bigger, and the algorithm is going to pick it up, and then it's going to show it to more people because this seems to be interesting. The algorithm is not going to judge if it's hateful content or if it's cat content. They create a lot of fake accounts. So if you have maybe 5,000 people and they all create 10 fake accounts, then you have 50,000 voices. And maybe Petra, they go onto your Facebook page, and then you have in half an hour 50,000 hate comments, and you think 50,000 people have just attacked you, but it's only 5, but you can't know. So this is, there are like a lot of ways how to, and if 50,000 people go on Petra's Facebook account and post there, then the algorithm is going to pick it up because it says, wow, 50,000 people have posted on Petra's Facebook account. So this is probably going to be interesting for other people, because my goal is to have a lot of people stay on this platform as long as I can. So I'm going to show it in the timeline to even more people. And we know that hate is something contagious, that people who are already maybe come from work are a little bit aggressive, and then they see, 50,000 people have already hated Petra, then it doesn't matter if I also write a hate account. So you get like in a spiral of hate in this dynamic that the algorithms also support. But these small groups who gather on the internet, who now in the Corona times, you can see it on Telegram, for example, where they attack scientists or where they attack journalists or politicians, you can see that they have understood very, very well how the internet and how social media works, and they know exactly how to penetrate this. And we know from, I think this one study is really, it's unbelievable, but 5% of users are responsible for 50% of the likes under hate comments. So it's really this really small group. But how should you know, Petra? Because I mean, you don't know. This is to you, it's only 50,000 hate comments, but that they only come from like 5% of accounts, you can't know because they have so many fake accounts and so on. Who are the perpetrators? And I've concentrated a little bit more on the perpetrators of digital violence against women. The motives are, I've already said, misogyny, fight against gender equality, like a reinstallment or backwards mentality. We want to go back to the 50s. Women should go back to, you know, to raise a family. They should be put in their place. So there are a lot of movements online who, who question the liberation of women that has happened in the last 100 years. And some of them, they are called the so-called manosphere, where you have the most well-known group. I think a lot of you have heard of them, are the incels, the involuntary celibataires. That is a group of women-hating, that is the most fast-growing and the most violent group of predominantly young men who say that they are involuntary celibataire, which means that women don't want to have sexual intercourse with them. And they start hating women for that and also start aggressing women. And we had several also attacks. One, for example, in California, where young men shot 5 people on the street. We know that the attacks in the extremist in Halle that attacked the synagogue also was in the incel movement and has used incel language when he killed several people. So this is a very, very violent group, and clearly is questioning, equality between men and women to the right of women to have the right to decide about what they want to do with their bodies. Then you have the pickup artists, a movement where men just try to seduce women to afterwards throw them in the garbage. Then men going their own way, completely women-hating men who say they want to build their own society without women. The NoFap movement, for example, men who don't masturbate anymore. You have a lot of movements on the internet, and there are very strong connections to right-wing and right-wing extremist ideologies, because under the incels, for example, you find a lot of like right-wing extremists, because there are clear parallels between the right-wing and or alt-right ideology to say, okay, women have to have a certain place in our society, in our ideology, which is mother, which is, the one that has the children, that one that cooks, is in the home, and the man has this other role, and we want to reinstall this. And this is absolutely, there are a lot of parallels with, for example, the incels, but also with like the Islamistic movement, for example. Also, there are a lot of parallels, but the right-wing movements are more, they are right now more flexible and more agile to move into these women-hating movements, as much as they do, for example, now with all the corona, with the whole anti-corona vaccination movement. They're really quick to go into this movement and kind of, connect it with their own means. But what we have to see is that sympathizers also come from liberal and conservative circles, who then maybe not start and maybe are not the most extremist, but put a like on Facebook under such a, it's like they're not that aggressive, but maybe a little like, or maybe they sympathize a little bit, and it's really too extreme as this feminism, and like comments like that. So you really have like this, you have like a very strong little movement, but you have also a broader movement that is very easily to be reached on social media. What is the result if people are attacked like this on the internet? If their addresses are published, if they don't feel secure in their homes anymore, what's the goal? The goal is to silence people. The goal is to have people not be as outspoken anymore, to maybe think about, maybe this has happened to you as well, that you thought about, can I really write this? How are the reactions going to be? Am I going to be hated? And a lot of people think that also, not as the victims do think that all the time. I have read today in the newspaper an interview with the new president of the parliament of Germany, a woman who said that she, every time she posts something, she thinks about how the reactions are going to be. So there you can see already silencing and kind of like a censor. And she said it in the interview completely clearly. Just it wasn't. She didn't even disguise it. And I have so many clients who say that in private, then in the consultation, but don't say it out loud. But she was like very, very clear about it. And the problem is that this doesn't only happen to the victims. It happens to all of us. Because if you've seen this happen to somebody else, to another woman, to another politician, to somebody from your company who has been outspoken somewhere about something and has been attacked, then next time you are in the same position to post something about this subject or to be very outspoken, you think about it twice, because do you want your address being published on the internet? Do you want death threats or maybe rape threats? Do you want to be insulted in front of everybody, and then your family sees all these insults and somebody's going to say, well, if so many people say this about her or defame her like that, maybe there's some truth must be in that. So yeah, this is something that is extremely stressful, and you can only imagine how stressful it is. So you want to avoid it, which is a completely normal and natural reaction. And it's actually a good reaction normally in our daily lives. But in this case, 54% of internet users, and these are not the victims, this is you and me who not have been attacked, already no longer dare to express their political opinion online in certain situations for fear of hate and incitement. So the situation that we have already is the so-called silencing effect, where in one of the most important places where we start voicing our political opinion, where we dispute or discuss how we want to live together, what is important to us, what not, social media, 54% of people don't censor themselves, don't feel secure anymore to say their opinion online. I will give you a minute time maybe for some questions until here.
First of all, Annalena, it's really threatening. It's really absolutely unbelievable. For me, just when you had your last sentence, for me was just, I was always asking myself how right-wing parties could get to this level. But, listening to that, what you are saying, it's exactly what you're saying. And also I'm kind of, visible, but under the radar, but still I get these hate speeches. But I think there was one question from Priska. Priska, would you raise it yourself?
I was never, I have no threats or comments on violence, but of course, being a lawyer, I'm aware of that. I had some clients who were victims, and now I'm also a mother of children. So this is something that I bear in mind, because they live a life that I didn't live. So I want also to make really a difference, being prevention, and also, yes, fighting a little bit for our freedom. And but I was lucky, but I'm sure it will come. It will come. Just a question of time.
I think it's really important to go into schools, and we haven't done that here. Also, it's almost not done yet, and we have also a very big problem. That's what you just said, Priska, between the parent and that's also the teacher situation and the young children situation, because the teachers have not grown up with social media. They don't know what TikTok is. They have never used Snapchat. They can't even imagine what that means, but they would have to. And you have like this generational gap where like the kids are doing things the teachers don't even understand the scope of what is happening anymore. And we've seen young people, 14-year-old, 16-year-old suicides because of cyber mobbing, and parents and adults that were around these children could not really grasp how this the scope of it. So I think this is maybe like the next generation or the generation after who have been digital natives. This is going to be different for adults and also for the teachers. But right now, what we would need in schools would be not only education for the kids, but also for the parents and the teachers. Yeah, and this is a lot. And the same problem also you can see in the police, for example, you can see in the law enforcement agencies. So I'm sure you know that yourself, that I have lots of victims where they go to the police and sent away because they don't take it seriously, or they don't know the social networks, or what women have experienced also in the 80s and 90s. Oh, your skirt is so short, then you should not wonder that you got raped. And now it's like, oh, you showed something, you showed yourself so freely on the internet, then you can't wonder that you get now sexualized comments and rape threats and everything. So yeah, and we see that also with like prosecutors who don't take these cases seriously, or we see that with judges who don't, where you have to explain how social media works, and then it's really hard to kind of explain to them also that this is really serious, not only for this one person, but also for us as a society, also the effects for us as a society.
There's one more question from Sabo.
Yeah, hello, Annalena. Thank you so much for your engagement. I've got two questions. So I feel very well informed by your presentation. So no questions to that. I'm thinking about what we could do actively as a protection, and as a protection for the people in our environment, be it online or be it our family. And just to give you a short insight, I started to be more visible at the beginning of the pandemic. I think this is an experience that a lot of us have, because suddenly it was more urgent to be visible online, be it social media. And my platforms are LinkedIn and Instagram. And in the last month, I started to speak out my mind on LinkedIn. And I have made contact with Johannes C., who is suffering online hate on a very, very big scale on LinkedIn. So I have already experienced observing what is happening on a former professional serious platform like LinkedIn. So no environment is safe anymore. That is clear. And already also TikTok, school. So be it online or digital or analog. So I know it is very, very important to be informed, but till the broader society is informed, what can we do? So I would like to hear some of your experience. And just my last sentence, that I have friends who are lawyers, female lawyers, who are experts in digital or legal futurists, or so they are experts in transforming the law to adopt systemically the law and the tools we have already to have tools against this digital hate, because it's like in the I don't know, Wild Western right now. We don't have laws, and therefore we don't have protection. Sorry to be so long. So now I stop here and I'm listening to your expertise.
So I think it's really interesting that this is how we gather, also how we draw on our own experiences or our own behavior. And when we look at others, like you have looked at Johannes C. and seen, okay, what is happening to him? How could that happen to me too? How can I adapt my behavior maybe to that this is not going to happen to me? And then maybe to your last thing that you said about the lawyers. We can go into this maybe after my second part, but there are a lot of means already. Maybe Priska, you can comment on that. The thing is also that we have a lot of problems with law enforcement. because law enforcement agencies, you already have a lot of laws. And if I look at it in Germany, my wish list for criminal law is not long. There are already almost everything. An insult is an insult. It used to be illegal in the analog world, and it is also legal in the digital world. But if it's not enforced, then it's the Wild West. If a defamation is not enforced and not deleted, then it's like the Wild West. If you see Holocaust denial, that is a harsh criminal offense, serious criminal offense, that is not deleted or that is not enforced, then all of the sudden perpetrators say, okay, I can't do it in the analog world, but here there's a different world. And I can share another experience of you. I was half a year ago, I was also here doing a presentation at a Rotary Club actually. And somebody said there to me, Ms. von Hodenberg, you just have to accept that the internet is a different place where different rules apply. And that was a lawyer. And I thought, okay, this is really interesting because people have already kind of, you know, because the law has been not enforced and broken so many times, so much in such a large frequency on the internet, people have started accepting, even lawyers have started accepting to say, okay, this is like, you know, this is like the pub where people get drunk and then they write stupid things, don't take it seriously. And it's like, no, this is our public sphere where we all interact, where our children are, where we are. No, there's no place, even in the pub, this is illegal. Even there, this is still illegal. Even if people are drunk, this is still illegal, you know? So yeah, so maybe we can talk about this later also. Maybe Prisca can comment on this. And I would go to my second.
May I just jump in here? I would love if you go to part 2, and we have Friederike here. She is, she also has a question because she's interested in program for young people. Friederike, if this is okay with you, you can maybe just switch on your camera. If it is okay, I would like to have this question asked at the end, but if not, just jump in and ask your question because I think it was a very practical one. And then Anna-Lena, I would like you to go ahead with the part 2.
Great.
That's okay for me, thank you.
Okay, then we jump to part 2. Okay, I've kind of compiled a little bit. I just wanted to present you really quickly what we do in Hate Aid. I've said a little bit at the beginning. We have a consultation where we do emotional stabilizing counseling because being a victim of maybe, you know, of all the crimes that I already cited, finding your images on a porn platform, finding your address on the internet, finding yourself threatened and insulted that much is a psychological act of violence, and it can affect people really, really strongly. And also people who have been in the public for a long time can be affected very, very strongly. And we do safety and communication counseling because, yeah, we have just started to use this internet, and we have maybe 8 years ago published some things that we shouldn't have published on some very public places on the internet where we still were really like, you know, innocent and put our telephone number here or uploaded on Facebook a picture here of something private that we wouldn't share today anymore. So this is something that where we help. We also help in law enforcement. We finance civil lawsuits. We have a process financing fund because if you are insulted or you are defamed, for example, most of the time the prosecutors will not follow your case because you have been affected personally. So the only chance that you have is go to civil court. And the risk is high because you know, what I said that, yeah, you don't know if you are going to win. You don't know if the judges are going to take this seriously. So not many people do it. The cost risk is really high. It's about 2,000 euros just for the lawyer and for the court. And if you lose, you always have to pay also for the other side. So for one insult, it can be 4,000 euros that you have to put on the table, which is a lot. So you can imagine how little people do that. But since we believe that we really need law enforcement and that insults shouldn't be tolerated, we finance these cases, and we also win occasionally. And we cooperate with the big and major law enforcement agencies here in Germany. We do trainings for them. things like I do with you today, you know, just show them the internet, get consciousness about how important this is for our society. And we also have like a special partnership with a law enforcement agency in the south of Germany, where we send all our cases. And we do public relations. As I said, we advocate for those affected, because those people who have been affected most of the time don't have the energy, the power anymore to do so. So that's why we do it. We really try to change the system and change laws and rules on a European, but also now here in Germany on a German level, to prevent digital violence even more. Now you can contact us by phone. By email. We have an app that's called Meldehelden, where you can just, if you see something, you can just flag it, and we then press charges. And we have a reporting form on our internet site. And as I said before, silencing is not an option. It cannot be an option for us to silence our voices. It cannot be an option really for us that we accept to say, okay, we censor ourselves online. So, but you can prepare and you can know what to do so you can get through an attack, because it can happen to you. But if you are prepared, and we have seen that, that people who are not taken by it by surprise, but really know, okay, this can happen to me. I know exactly what to do. I have a plan if this is happening to me, can get through this and can get also successfully through this in a way, although this sounds a little bit strange, but they can. So what can you do? I would start with like communication counseling. If you have your own channel, you are, it's your domestic authority what you allow on your channel, on your Facebook feed, on your blog. You write the netiquette, and it's your rules. So I always say it's like your living room, and you can invite people to your living room, friends of friends, friends of their friends, and everybody can, you know, discuss. And maybe sometimes they also criticize you, and maybe also harshly. But if someone starts to vomit on your table, you throw them out. So this is what you do also with your Facebook feeds and your blogs. If people can't behave, if these people do not behave according to your rules, like in your living room, out, block them, throw them out. And be very, very clear about it. Describe how you would like your communication on your channel to be. Say what is okay and not okay. Announce these consequences, stick to them, and also give feedback on how you want people to interact on your channel. Okay, yeah, now I can't, it was animated, but now it doesn't work anymore. So I will just go through with you like this. If you write and you're criticized and you feel like people are starting to insult you or questioning your opinion, don't write for them. Don't write for the haters. Always think about who is your community, who are the people you really want to reach. Write for them, explain yourself, but have them in mind, and don't concentrate all your energy on the haters. Prioritize who you want to respond if people start discussing, or also, you know, saying lies about you, or, you know, spreading defamations. Prioritize who is constructive. Who do I want to give my attention to, and who do I not want to give my attention to? Do not allow yourself to be provoked, and I know that is sometimes very hard. Take a deep breath, just, you know, put the computer down, 10 minutes more or less, do just a little moment of yoga or something, just to, you know, get back to your, you know, get yourself back together, and then start writing and responding. And have your own position. Maybe, for example, when you're defamed, when somebody says, okay, she said that, or she's in favor of this, and it's a lie. One time you clearly, shortly say, I just want to, you know, make this comment. This is a lie. People are spreading this about me. This is not my opinion. I'm going to announce this once, and then that's it. Don't get yourself worked up. try to stay really clear, because if you start to like discuss and start to like, you know, mingle into this, it's going to work you up, and you are giving others more space to attack you. Try to de-escalate if people, also if you see that people are on your channel are starting to fight, you know, sanction and involve the community. And this is really, really important. If you are attacked, you always, I mean, if you would be attacked in the analog world, you would call your friends, you would call your family, you would call your community to come and help you. So this is what you need to do online as well. If people spread lies about you, if people defame you, if people insult you, make it clear to your community that this is happening to you, and say, okay, I now need your support. So they can, you know, support you, post positive comments under your channel, so you don't have in your living room all these, you know, only hate comments, but also your community can come and support you and even this out. The second point is resilience. If you start trying to think about these points the minute you are attacked, then it is good, but it could be better if you are prepared. If you know what to do when something happens to you, then it just it won't leave the same scars. That is something that we have seen in the consultation, that if it comes by surprise. So when you are attacked, even if you have made a mistake, it is never your fault, never. Nobody deserves to be insulted, to be lied about, to get rape threats, nobody. A normal critique is fine, and a harsh critique is also still fine under the freedom of speech, but there is never a moment where you deserve that this is happening to you. Maybe you have posted something that wasn't right, or wasn't, you know, sometimes, you know, we do stupid things on social media, but never ever think that this is your fault. And nobody deserves to be treated like this. And this is something that you really, really, really have to have like in the back of your mind. Seek support, and first in your analog circle. When you see that you are attacked, talk to your family, talk to friends, talk to colleagues. Can they maybe support you? Can they overtake your channels for some time, so you don't have to read all these insightful comments? Maybe your sister can overtake your channel and just delete, block people, so your commentary sections looks fine again, and you don't have to read this, because it's going to go right into you because you're so emotional. And if you don't feel comfortable, we can do it for you. You can reach out to us, to Hate Aid, and we can do it for you. Who could be your go-to person? Think about it now. Maybe you can talk to them beforehand. Maybe someday I will be attacked. Would you be willing to take over my social media channels and clean it up for 1 or 2 days, so I don't have to do it and I don't have to read this, and this is not going to affect me like this? Talk to them. Try to do something else to get some distance. What could that be? What is a good coping mechanism for you? Would it be to go for a walk? Would it be to call someone and go have a dinner, or have like some food, or meet your children or something? Think about what would be your moment where you think, okay, I have to get away from this now. I have to get some distance. What do I do? And then not think about what it is to do, but you already know what you need to do. Prepare yourself for that. React on the attacks, but calm and smart. And you can only do that if you do the first 3 things that I already said, because nobody's calm and smart when they get so emotionally attacked. So you need to do these first three steps to kind of get calm and smart again, and try to not do it alone. So what I already said is activate your digital community to support you. Make things clear, but don't discuss. Just one clear statement when you get defamed. Block and delete. Who can support you there? And then ask these people, and really don't be alone in this situation. Don't deal alone with it. Read as little as possible yourself, because all the defamations will stay in your head and you will dream about them. They will follow you in your subconscious. That's what I see every day in my consultation. So try to get other people in to clean that up for you, so you don't, this is not in your sphere anymore. How can you be safe at home? How safe is your home? Who knows where you are living? Should this be somewhere on the internet? Maybe not. Just, who knows, maybe in your company, in your circle of, you know, in circles of colleagues, who knows where you're living. Is that okay? With a lot of people, it's okay, but maybe I have, for example, mayors where they have to put their address, they put their address on the website, their private address on the website of the city where they are mayors. This is not necessary. So where can you delete them? Where can you delete these private information that people know about you? Who can see what on your channels? When have you checked your Facebook channels the last time and see what kind of private information everybody can see? Check it, because there are a lot of possibilities where you can only have your friends, your privacy, have very good privacy, possibilities to have a lot of privacy. So check it and make sure that only people you trust see your pictures of your holidays with your kids, see the pictures, you know, where you're maybe in a bikini, or where you're 10 years ago, where you're on a party drunk, that can be maybe then used against you. Yeah, so how is your social media setup? And it's really very simple measures that you think, but if you have not done them, then people can find these informations about you and they can use it against you. So yeah, just be aware of the data that you share with other people on the internet. Google yourself. And look also at page 15, because maybe 10 years ago, there was this picture where you were chair at the school of your children, and then everybody knows where your children go to school. Does it have to be on the internet? Is there a place where you have put your telephone number? Is there a place where you've put your address? Just check on, you know, former football club, MySpace. Does this all still have to be on the internet? If not, delete it, take it out there, get it out. It's garbage. Nobody needs to know all this about you. This only can make you more vulnerable. Every information that you don't want everyone to have, but only certain people, should not be available to everyone. Information about your parents, your partner. I have people who, where then the Facebook pages of the parents are attacked. That's horrible. So try to kind of, you know, cut these connections and the visibility of these connections for a lot of people. And you can have, for example, at Google, you can delete things in the search line. And if you need support with that, we can help you. And then the last part is really, and it's really easy. You need good passwords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is not a good password. And you need different passwords for every account. And I say that in all of my classes. And I know all of you have the same passwords for at least 2 accounts. This is very dangerous. A lot of times, big email companies like Hotmail or like GMX are hacked, and then all the passwords are online. And if you use that also for your Amazon account or your Spotify account, the same email and the same password, all of a sudden people are in your Amazon and your Spotify account, or can read your private emails. So please do use always different passwords, because it's a great weakness. And I've seen in my consultation that people you know, change their email accounts and everything, and then they still wonder why somebody's again in their private conversations, because they've used the same password for the same email accounts. Always use 2-factor authentication, like with your bank. Just always use it, get used to it. I know it's like a hassle at the beginning, but just use it because it makes you safer. You will have a feeling of safety if you follow all this. Never click on an email, on a link in an email. Never, ever, ever. Because we have a lot of phishing out there, so people can, you know, put malware on your, or spyware on your computer. Always use updates, and if you really, you know, minimize everything that you can find online, have emergency plans on what you're going to do if you are attacked, and protect your address, because that's the most important part. If you are attacked online, you have to go home and feel secure. This is your hideaway place. Protect your address. In Germany, you can also apply for a registration register block, because everyone in Germany can go to the council, and with your name and maybe your birth date or the city where you live in, they can find out your address for €7. So if you feel like you could be attacked, then you should try to get a registration register block at the council. And also, if you have problems with that, please ask us, we can support you to do that. And I urge you again, that's what we're probably going to talk about later on as well, use law enforcement. And as we've already said, there's not enough law enforcement on the internet. So we have to ask them and press them to do it. So go and press charges. You can, first of all, have the networks delete illegal content, either by the NetzDG or the community standards. Use it. You can report it with the police and press criminal procedures. You can also report things online. And you can file a civil complaint, as I said. You can get compensation for the damage that has been done to you. And if you can't afford that yourself, we can support you. And we can support you in all of these steps. If you feel like you're emotionally overburdened or this is just too much and you have to take care of other things, we can support you in doing so. Yeah, I would stop here now. Thank you very much. And I'm open for your questions.
Anna-Lena, thank you very, very much. I think this was one of the most interesting and horrifying presentations I've ever heard. Thank you very, very much for this. It was really absolutely fascinating. I have one question before I hand over to the others who have questions. How will someone get financially supported to do this? You know, if you want to have aid, legal aid, you have to pay for that. So how is your business model financed?
So what we do is we think, as I said, for us, it's really important. We've seen that especially defamations and insults. So that is like the most common thing that you find on the internet. There's no law enforcement because it depends on the financial situation of the person. And actually, Petra, I mean, put 4,000 euros on the side and maybe lose them just because of an insult. For a lot of people, this is a lot of money. And also the criminal procedures, civil procedures take a long time. So maybe you have to put them aside for a year. And most of my clients are not attacked only with one insult, but with a lot of insults, defamations. So it's almost impossible to do so. And then you would think now, why is this? This is so unjust. These laws are still from analog times, where you have two neighbors who insult them on the fence, and then the law enforcement agencies say, well, we can't waste our time always with these neighbors insulting each other. But now we have a different situation. Now insults are used on the internet, as I have showed you, as a political tool to silence certain groups, to silence people, to attack people, to make them go away and stay away from public discourse on the internet. So we are in this situation. So what we decided is that we need this law enforcement. And if people can't pay for it, then we will pay for it. And so we gathered money for a process financing fund from foundations, from private donors, who were convinced that this is really important to do so. And so we check every case. People come to us. We have law firms who we work together, specialized law firms, who then file the complaints with a special prosecutor in Hesse, in the federal state of Hesse in Germany, where we have like a privileged partnership. And then in the cases where we think there could be success, then we will finance them. And only, this is the business model, only if the people in court get a compensation, they give them back to the process financing fund. And then with that compensation, we can pay for a new process for the next victim. So it's kind of like a, solidarity model. You get the chance to go against your hater, and then you donate your money for the next person, and this person can have a chance to, sue their hater. So because the overall goal of everyone who does these civil court cases is to get justice and to make the internet a more just environment. And that's why everyone is convinced that you need a lot of court cases.
Oh, super. Thank you very much for this answer. And I think, Friederike, maybe you can ask your question now.
Yeah, thank you very much for this really interesting masterclass. First of all, I have had this experience. I have had a GMX mail address which was hacked. And in the first night, they also took over my Amazon and eBay accounts and tried to buy things. I could stop this by time and informed the police. and called GMX to stop. And but a few weeks later, I got an email where they told me they have also hacked my camera and filmed me having sex, and they would send these pictures to everybody of my contacts if I don't pay money to a Bitcoin konto. And I had also contact to the police, and I was able to take a picture, a screenshot from my Facebook account. They could see their the IP address and the city where they have been at the moment, and the kind of personal computer they used at the moment. And with this screenshot and a few months of criminal investigation, yeah. Thank you. They was able to caught these people, and this was a hacker organization with a few hundred people all over Germany earning money with this procedure and buying drugs, weapons, and child pornography via darknet. And I was really proud to have taken this screenshot of their IP addresses, but I made a mistake which I didn't know at this moment. I didn't want to use this GMX mail account anymore and deleted my account. But the problem is GMX, no, I don't know the word. They make it possible that another person can use my name and make a new account with my name. And so I don't know if another Friederike Müller has now my account, or if those darknet hackers have now my complete personal data and my account. And that was a problem which I really didn't know. And this is really dangerous, I think. But my question was, do you care for children and teenagers? I'm a child and youth psychiatrist, and we see that this problem is really increasing, and I don't know really effective prevention programs or screening for children and teenagers. And I think what we try to do by social prevention, like going to schools or I don't think it's enough, because it's really increasing. Do you know anything we can do to take care for children and teenagers?
Friederike, thank you so much for sharing this experience. That must have been a horrible time for you, but yeah, you can be really proud of yourself that you helped to discover this ring of criminals. Also really, wow, that was very courageous of you, and great that the police also supported you and that this worked like this. Maybe you can go after GMX. Maybe we should talk about, maybe afterwards you write an email to our consultation. We can check if you can we can contact GMX to find this out for you, because I think you shouldn't live with this, you know, cloud over yourself to think that this can happen at some point, because it's, I think it's really stressful. So maybe we can try to solve this together with GMX. Sometimes this works, so I can't promise, but we should definitely try and look what kind of other measures we can take. And then to the question of children, yes, fortunately there are. Also, first of all, I think it's absolutely necessary to think about how we can work with children and do prevention work with children, because with children we have a lot of topics. We have the whole cyber grooming topic, where we have seen that the images in child porn that we see on child porn pages have increased significantly of children who have voluntarily shown their bodies because they have been groomed over the internet. So this is a completely horrible development. We have the cyber mobbing part, we have the part where images like maybe from the Holocaust are just shared because we just wanted to share something to laugh about. So the whole democratic question about, so then we have the whole nude question where young girls and young boys are sending their nudes to each other, and then all of a sudden they land on the internet. And nowadays, if it was a photo 20 years ago, you just move to a different city and then it's forgotten. Nowadays, 20 years later, you can still find it on the internet. So this is really like, so we have all this. But fortunately, as we don't work with kids and children because it's a completely different range. And I think we have to read, because we do a lot of law enforcement also, it's just a different thing. But what is very good is Uport. I think it's with 3U, Uport, and then ClickSafe. These are two initiatives. I have a whole list. We have a whole list that we always give out, but Uport and ClickSafe, we work together as well. But there is a scene. It's not that visible, but they do really, really great work of civil society organizations who work on this. And I can send this to Petra afterwards. And Petra, maybe you can just put it on the page and then you can all access it. And also for all the parents here, I think ClickSafe, I always look it up here. No, it's not this one. I wish I could just, take it and show it to you. There's either ClickSafe or Uport. I think it's ClickSafe. They have made like a brochure for parents where you really go through smartphones, you go through YouTube and all the security things that you can do, everything you can talk to about with your children. So really like, it's like a checklist that you can work through with your children. I'm doing that with my daughter. I can completely advise you to do that also, and not to do it too late. Not to do it too late, yeah. I would send that to you, Friederike, but also what we need, Friederike, and this is something that you also as parents, maybe voters, people who care about children, we need to have more protection. And the protections that we have is that with 3 clicks, children can get on porn platforms right now on the internet without even being asked how old they are. So, and access this. So we really need to have on the gaming platforms, there's a lot of violence, but also recruiting from Islamist groups, recruiting from right-wing groups, have that going on. So we really, we need to press for legislation in the next couple of years, because this is not something that we can burden on the parents only, as the platforms do, as Google, for example, does, and says we just have to educate the parents and everything's fine. No, we need more rights on the internet, and we really need to ask for this. This is not something that we only have to burden on ourselves.
It's just really absolutely amazing, absolutely important presentation, Annalena. And what Andrea wrote in the chat, I think it's also important. Please do us the favor. We are going to send you the information. It would be great if you could share this in your networks. What is around, where you can get help, what you could do, etc., etc. I think this is the majority of people are not aware of that. And I think it's absolutely amazing. I even was thinking about what I have to check all my platforms, etc., etc. It's super important. And I think what you're doing is really absolutely great work. And of course, from time to time, you read in the German newspaper when you have another success with a very important, they're mostly female political people. And that's really absolutely amazing. Congratulations. I'm really absolutely impressed, and you deserve all the applause from all of us. I think it's it was one of the best I have had here so far. And Monica, I just see Monica or whatever. No, I see all these. Thank you. Is there any more question? Please raise your hand. I see hearts here coming up. If there's any more question, please raise your hand. Otherwise, Annalena, she's one of our role models. And I think she's a real role model, really. Annalena, chapeau. I don't have a chapeau here, but chapeau, it's absolutely amazing. And what you're doing, it's really absolutely great. And also what I see is what you do in the meantime, because you're also fighting in the meantime on a European level. You also partner with European companies. So for those who are not sitting in Germany, Annalena's organization has a big network from in Europe at least, and I think you should use it. You should make your network aware of this, and whenever you see there's any haters in your network, you can just like make them aware of there is help outside. And having said that, Annalena, again, thank you. It was an amazing presentation. Thank you very much. And yeah, I would say we are going to stop the recording soon. It was absolutely fantastic. Thank you for your time, Annalena. Very much appreciated, and fantastic presentation and fantastic work.
Thank you, Petra. Thank you for having me all. Thank you for these great questions, for your interest. And I know after a long working day, sometimes it's hard to kind of stay with us. So thank you for putting the effort into to participate today. It was really great. And yeah, exactly. As we have opened an office in Brussels. If you are from another European country, don't hesitate to contact us. We can also put you in contact with people who can help you in your country, maybe. We are fighting for better regulations European-wide right now. So yeah, just yeah, we are there. Contact us, stay in touch, be allies, spread the word, inform your children. And then I'm still an optimist, although this has been so pessimistic maybe for some of you. Prepare yourselves, and this is we are at the beginning. We are still shaping this internet, and it's us, we are the citizens who are going to live in it. So it's on us also with regulations, with how we behave ourselves, but also make others behave on the internet. And I think, yeah, we can still make it a pretty great place if we want to. So yeah, just keep doing that.
Thank you, Annalena, and goodbye to everyone. Thank you for participating. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.